Hello and good morning. Welcome to Ask Me Anything WordPress with the Baltimore WordPress Meetup. This is our meetup for June 11th, 2025. At the end of this recording in the YouTube video, there will be links that were shared in the chat. So if you're looking for any links from the meetup, make sure to check the end of the video on YouTube as the links will be there. This is an informational meetup. Please use the information, links, websites, plugins, themes, and everything else that we share at your own risk. Just because we are showing something is not an official WordPress endorsement of it. Above all, we aim to keep these activities family-friendly, as many of us attend from home with family members of all ages in the background. We will be doing our best to follow the WordPress Meetup community standards. If you violate these standards, you'll be evicted from the meeting. No spamming or spammer-like behavior. We have people of all different skill levels and backgrounds, so no judgment when someone is at a different level than where we are at. Generally speaking, don't be a jerk. We have a few sponsors to thank before we get going with the meetup. The first one is Enfira. Enfira helps companies serious about their WordPress development needs. They specialize in helping agencies and businesses that are frustrated by their WordPress challenges. If you're looking for help with your WordPress, including on-call consulting, visit enfira.com/help. Our next sponsor is Easy Alley Guide. The Easy Alley Guide works to make web accessibility easier to implement through done-for-you tools and processes. For more information, including tools, tutorials, and more on web accessibility, please visit easyalleyguide.com. Our third sponsor is OB Digital Consulting. OB Digital Consulting does our YouTube recordings and prepares them for us. Without OB, we would not be able to have these posted to YouTube, so we thank them very much. Some quick admin. Find your Zoom chat. We will be using the Zoom chat to queue people up, so make sure to find it and open it up. We are now going to start with people who have pre-submitted their questions. If any of the people who have pre-submitted are here, we will do their questions first. And then after we take their questions, we will then open it up to open questions. The people who have pre-submitted, if you are here, just type the word here into the Zoom chat. Robin, Miles, MJ, Nancy, Iris, Gary, Crystal, Anita, Simon, Jean. It looks like Nancy is first. I have sent you a request if you wish to unmute Nancy. Nancy's question that she submitted, is that still the question that you want to ask?
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry. This is the first time I've been on this chat, and so I'm catching up with you. Go ahead, please. Thank you.
All right, you asked what are the benefits of using blocks instead of the classic editor? It is much more difficult to do things with blocks as opposed to some of the previous ways that you were doing it. So are you looking specifically for just general text pages with just text and headings, or are you talking about actually trying to do page building with columns and rows and alignments and all of that?
The former. I'm doing web content for myself and a client, but it's usually very standard and uses only a few of the options in a block. But I figured there's probably a broader reason, such as people who are trying to duplicate content for multiple clients or something, or what is the benefit that makes it worth taking extra steps as opposed to just going up to hit the bullet sign and then you got bullets.
So as Eagle has said, there is in fact a classic block that you can insert, which would just basically give you very similar to the previous classic editor that you have. If you're just doing simple text, I would honestly recommend that you write it in something like Google Docs. The block editor actually pastes very well from Google Docs, and a lot of people find it much easier to write in. So I will tell a lot of people to just write your blog post there. And then when you're happy, and make sure to use, headings and things like that. And then when you're happy with it, just copy and paste it into the block editor rather than fussing with the block editor. For people who have gotten accustomed to using the block editor for a lot of things, they've found that they can use the slash command when editing. And by using the slash, you can type slash H, and that'll give you a standard H2. You can type slash H3, and that'll give you a heading 3, and then press return, and then type your heading, then press return. The next block's by default a paragraph. So if you're just switching between headings and paragraphs, it goes quite quickly. If you do just hit like a dash, that will automatically give you a bullet pointed list. So a lot of times you don't have to actually select blocks to do basic text.
Okay, but are there specific advantages to having the block system be the prevalent one that is
Most of the time, people are looking to either keep up with the standards, or they're looking to do a little bit of something with it. So perhaps most of their page might just be straight up text, but at some point they want to switch and have like a right and a left column, and then have more text, and then do, an image on the left and text on the right, and kind of do that. It's usually for people who want to add a little bit of styling, but maybe not a ton. And then there are add-on packs if you want to add a ton.
Thank you very much.
Mhm. All right, our second person is Jean. And Jean had pre-submitted a question regarding accessibility, specifically PDFs.
Yeah, I know
Do
it's
I
kind of
know
out of the
of,
scope. Yeah, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm just going to read your question, and then I'll allow you
Okay.
to add any additional points, just so that everyone's familiar with your question.
Okay.
So you were looking specifically for PDF checkers that will work on Mac OS. There are several available for Windows. You do have Acrobat, DC Pro. So I do not specialize specifically in PDF accessibility, as that is kind of its own little specialty. There are some different PDF checkers. Some of them are online. I don't have one off the top of my head for a PDF checker.
Okay. All right.
I'm not
I just
sure
thought
if
that I would
Eagle
ask.
or Simon might have one off the top of their head. Sometimes they do, but I don't happen to have a PDF checker off the top of my head.
Okay. All right. Did you see the second question? I sent it in a separate
Oh, there was the
form.
second question.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
You
a
were
WordPress
asked
question.
to migrate a website created and hosted with Civic Plus to WordPress or Drupal. You were given the client's login. The new site does not have to mirror the current site, as it's using the Civic Plus proprietary software, but it needs to be similar and the content needs to be transferred. I have not personally used the Civic Plus platform, so I don't know what sort of export is available. If they have an RSS feed, you can frequently import the content via an RSS feed. And another option is there are now a whole bunch of AI tools available online to basically scrape websites into CSV files, so that then you could copy and paste the CSV out into another system. There are even some more advanced scrapers. The last time I had to do a big scrape was a couple of years ago, and I used Hexamatic to scrape a whole bunch of info from a previous site into a new site, but there are a number of others out there that can kind of do a scraping system.
Okay, can I just do it from my computer, or do I log into their site first and do it
So
through the,
most of these tools, what you'll want to do is you can probably just get a list of the URLs. Hopefully the website has a sitemap.
okay,
And then normally what you'll do is you will take that list of URLs and you will input it into one of these tools and start to use the tool then to do the scraping.
Can I ask one more question, or if not, it kind of pertains to this. One of the things that the client really likes with the Civic Pro is that it can send out notices, like, oh, there's a water main break, or office is closing early. What plugin would I need for that for WordPress?
It depends on how the notice is sent out. Is that like an email to an email list?
I think they
Or
send
is
out
that
text.
a banner on the website?
Oh, it's either send an email or a text,
Okay,
SMS.
so text SMS has to be a paid service. They're really, because it literally charges the sender to do texting. So you would have to have a fulfillment service to handle the SMS texting.
Okay.
To do it via an email list, you need an email list tool. So there are some different WordPress plugins. There's, of course, using a third-party system, MailChimp, MailerLite, tons of them out there, depending on exactly what you need. Some of them even have some additional fulfillment for things like SMS.
Okay, thank you.
All right, our next person up is Simon. Hello, Simon. Let me unmute you as soon as I find your name in the list. All right,
Hello,
Simon's
Jen.
question.
How are you today?
I'm just going to read up your question first, and then we'll
Sure.
get into the hellos. So you're partnering with a WordPress development firm to provide accessibility services on client builds, and you would also like them to integrate accessibility into the retainer and maintenance program. How would you recommend structuring this to include frequent automated scans and regular manual checkups so that you get paid fairly? Can you tell me a little bit more about what sort of setup you're looking for?
Sure. So, as I mentioned, I just signed an agreement with a local WordPress company. We're gonna be working together. They'll do the bills. They've got an outside design firm they work with, so I'll be working with both of them on their new client builds, just for a regular hourly rate for consulting, training, testing type thing. We've also begun a discussion about including accessibility services in the firm's retainer program. So they already have a maintenance program where they take care of updating software plugins, security checks, analytics type things.
Mhm.
And we were looking to one, include sort of regular accessibility reporting in that offering, and two, offer sort of a regular check-in, whether it's quarterly, semi-annually, or annually, where I would talk to clients and just let them know about new things um, in accessibility, go over concerns they might have. And so I was just curious how you do that with agencies you work with, if you do, and how you might recommend structuring that in terms of tooling, thinking about Equalized Digital's accessibility checker, but also pricing, and
Mhm.
how you split profits or revenue with between your agency and the WordPress development agency.
The first thing is always this going to be the scope for tools. The first question is, do you want a tool that is on the back end, or do you want a tool that is off site? If you have clients who may be in the back end or whatnot, you may not always want a tool in the back end. Or let's say you have a website with 10,000 blog posts, a tool like accessibility checkers, great, but quite frankly, you'd have to like exclude the blog post type from even
Sure.
being checked, because it's just the number of errors there is just going to be insane with
Astronomical,
with
yeah.
with that much old content. So a lot of times what I'll recommend is measure what matters and also measure what you're actually going to work on. So really only reporting to the client on what you're actually going to be working on, because there's kind of no point in reporting to them on thousands of pages when that's out of scope. So I would really focus on making sure that whatever tool you're using is really focusing and reporting just on scope, what's in scope. So that's usually the first thing is focusing on the scope, and then determining whether you want that to be kind of an on-site tool, which is available to everyone who's logged in, or whether you want that to be an off-site tool, which would therefore, only be available to those who had access to it and therefore are not visible to the client until you got to reportings, until you guys made a report. And
Yeah,
then how
yeah.
much you're going to do in terms of massaging things and adjusting them for
hmm
reporting.
hmm Well, here's an
Uh,
interesting caveat. This shop is fairly old school in that they actually print out their reports and mail them to customers via the postal service on a monthly basis. So I don't know
what?
if that influences your answer at all. I'm going to be working with them to try and update that process. But
I heard email was invented.
yeah, right. I know, huh?
Okay, well, I would definitely recommend that they update that system and embrace email,
Yeah,
as that's, a great system to use and get
I know.
reports out. Depending on what sort of reporting system they use, you may or may not be able to get any sort of integration into that. Most of the time you can't. I've, for example, I'm working on an updated tool which will basically send simplified email reports of focusing on, here's your top issue on the pages that we're monitoring, because we're only monitoring these pages because these are the only
Right.
ones we're going to work on. So here's your top issue, fix this, rather than the big pile of, we have scanned 1,000 pages of your website. You have
Yes.
30,000 errors. And then
And
everyone just
20,000 of them are the same
and
on
everyone
every
just
page.
throws their hands up in the air
Yeah,
because
exactly.
there's nothing they can do. Whereas if you say, okay, we're going to focus on 5 pages. From these 5 pages, we have 43 errors. Okay, it's still a little scary. From these 5 pages, this is your number one error. Here's the information. Fix that this week. And then people go, oh, you're asking me to fix one thing this week. I can probably manage that. So
Makes
I'm
sense.
working on that, but it's taking a lot of code, so I'm not done with it yet.
Sure. Yeah, that's a lot of processing of, you know,
Yes, yes.
reporting data.
Claude and I are working hard on it.
I was going to say you're probably using AI on that somehow, right?
Claude is a good junior developer. He does what he's
hmm
told, and he makes the mistakes I expect him to make, because those are the mistakes that junior developers make. And it's very predictable for me. So
hmm
we have a good setup going. All right, does that help some?
It does. How would you price those automated scans in a way that both the shop and I can benefit from them?
It's going to depend on what tool you're using.
hmm hmm
That's really the question needs to be, okay, what are you paying in tool fees? How much time is it costing you to do the whole thing? What do you need to add to that to cover your own overhead and whatnot?
hmm
And then that needs to be the price.
Right, right. You had mentioned in an earlier discussion what you do
Mhm.
in terms of your stuff. Can you remind me of that for your
Oh, what
monthly
tool I
automation?
use?
What monthly tool you use? What tool you use and what you charge for per month for automated scans?
So I use the eQualify,
hmm
which is affordable for if you have a lot of them, but it's not affordable if you only have a few. It costs about $6,000 a year, but it's got a large scan load and I can build out custom site maps and get what I need done.
Mhm.
So I'm also an active contributor to their project. So
Mhm.
I get a preferential rate on this.
I bet you do.
It helps to be a developer and contribute to open source projects.
Yeah, yeah.
So your cost with them would not be the same as my cost. Your
Right,
your
right.
cost would be the 6,000 a year. Um,
And what do you and what are you able to charge clients on a monthly basis? I think you said it was like 12 or $15, which
so
seems really
for
aggressive.
something really small, like we're only scanning 5-10 pages, yes, I
Hmm.
can do it for about $20 a month because of tooling that I have. But again, that's
Okay.
I invested in tooling. And
Hmm.
I'm actually going to make that tooling available, but I don't have an exact date because Claude and I are still working on it.
Sure. Okay. And then the other part of my question was, do you have any other thoughts on integrating sort of regular manual testing and check-ins in this
So
situation?
you either want to amortize it out so that you charge them basically $10 a month for an hour a year.
Hmm.
So it's so that they kind of get it amortized out. Some clients definitely prefer that. Other clients might want to do a small lump sum on a periodic basis. So I've had some clients who are like, okay, let's just do a 4-hour block, once a year and just do a bunch of stuff and then just have a little bit of monitoring in between. And so some of them want the lower monthly rate and then just a one-time hit when they can do it with their budget, and then others prefer to have it spread out over the year.
Okay.
So it really kind of depends on your client, and you really want to talk to them about how does money get allocated. So for a lot of small businesses, a small drop once a year, they would rather have that larger drop rather than the monthly. For something like a library, another nonprofit like that, where they've got to deal with other things, a flat monthly rate is a better situation for them.
Okay.
So really talk to the client about what's better for them.
Okay. And then, do you mind if I ask one follow-up question?
As long as it's brief.
It should be brief. So, do you have any strategies you recommend to offering this add-on service, this accessibility service to existing clients? What are good ways to present that to them?
So it depends on what the client is. Anyone falling under ADA Title II, I like
Hmm.
to, periodically do a check-in with clients saying, hey, here's kind of the latest updates on what's going on in the world. This is coming up for you. How do you want to handle it? Here's some options. Let's go hop on a call and discuss them. For just general clients, you can just kind of do an annual, hey, we're just doing a checkup. Here's, the various laws and things that apply to websites. Here's you can also talk about some usability things and incorporate some stuff like that. If the company does like SEO or other marketing services, you can kind of end up wrapping into a whole audit of what's going on, how can we improve things, how can we get better conversion rates, things like that.
Great, thank you.
All right, we are now through the initial people who had pre-submitted questions. And so now we are on to people who would just have a question. So you have two options. If you have a short question and you just want to ask it in the chat, you can go ahead and drop it in. If you would like to speak your question, you can just drop a question mark into the chat, and then we will hop over to you. Gary has asked a question. Any other AI tools that I recommend outside of WordPress? Gary, I can't find you in the list because it's not alphabetical. I wish it was. So Gary, you asked about AI tools. I primarily use Claude. I had tried ChatGPT a while back and we did not get along. We had a lot of arguments and we no longer speak to each other. So I moved on to Claude, and I find that Claude works significantly better for me. I also like that I have a preference panel there. So it has a list of my preferences on what I use, and it knows that that goes with every single prompt. I don't have to repeat myself every time I send it a prompt. Another one that I have not personally used, but I've heard a lot of good things about is Perplexity. I've heard that one is very good for kind of research and compiling of different things. It uses multiple different AI models from multiple different sources. I use, from the chat, Karen asks, I use Claude for coding, I use Claude for writing, I use Claude, period. That's the one I use for everything. Did you have any follow-ups, Gary?
No, I think that about does it. I was interested in AI tools both within WordPress, things like image generation, and then outside tools like you're discussing, Claude, and also what specific tasks, repetitive tasks, do you find these tools most useful for? You've mentioned a few.
Okay, good. All right, our next question is from Anita. Anita, I have sent you a request to unmute. All right, appears you might be having a little difficulty with Zoom. I will hop over to PJ. Oh, there you are.
Sorry, I unmuted, but somehow it asked me in a different screen to unmute again. So I have a website that I inherited, and it has the different views on it. If you want, I can share my screen. When I try to edit like the cell phone screen, it
Mhm.
also does it to the main screen. So how do I prevent that from happening?
Can you tell me what type of edit you're making?
Changing content.
So content is generally going to change on all screens. Like if you're changing an image out, what builder are you using?
Forgive me, Elementor.
Okay. So yes, if you're changing out like text, I'm guessing.
No, so again, I inherited this website. So on the main screen, when you look at the display, it shows service. And then on the main screen, it shows what the services are. But then when you go to the cell phone, it doesn't show what the services are. So I tried to re-add that on the cell phone screen, but then it also does it on the main page.
Most likely hidden in the Elementor settings. They actually probably hid that item on mobile.
Okay.
If you want to, I can stop sharing my screen and you can hop in and share yours as soon as I turn on the preference.
Okay. So this is the main page. It like down here where it shows services, it gives details about the
Yeah.
services. But
Mhm.
then when I go to edit page or edit with Elementor, so you're saying I can make the changes on the cell phone screen and then hide it on the main page?
Yeah, but let's see what's you're saying it's something is currently hidden on mobile. We might just be able to re-enable it on mobile. Give it a
So
moment. Okay, so go ahead and scroll down to the elements that were okay. So see how you have a whole bunch of content that's like all grayed out here?
yes.
So go ahead and like click on the available 24/7 anytime, anywhere. So just click on it. Just click it. Try right click. Interesting. Edit app section. Okay, click advanced. Okay, it unclicked. Ah, okay. Oh, you have a bunch of extra things added, which is probably causing some of the issues. All right, scroll down to the item that shows on desktop and is missing on mobile.
Right here.
Click the actual thing that shows on desktop and is missing on mobile.
I guess this whole section.
So that whole section is missing on mobile.
Mhm. And it might be because it's too large. So I was just trying to add what our services are on mobile, but not do it on the
Okay.
desktop.
Yeah. So it's So you've got, yeah, you've got the our services and that whole thing. All right, so under the advanced, click on display conditions on the left panel towards the bottom. Well, no, it's not that. All right, close that. Go ahead and switch to mobile view. Okay, scroll down.
So here it says our services and it goes nowhere. So I'm like, ah, no.
This looks like it's something with possibly the jet. All right, on the left side panel,
Mhm.
go ahead and scroll down. Scroll down.
Sorry, my touch screen is
Scroll.
not working. Okay.
Okay. Click on responsive. Ah, see? You've got a whole bunch of visibility settings there, and you've
Okay.
got a whole bunch of things turned on for hide. That is most likely what is causing so many of your issues. On a lot of, my guess is there are a bunch of elements that are marked up to hide on various different things. And it
So
may
if I
be
would,
layers of elements. I've literally seen it before where you have to go in and like unhide literally dozens of different things that had gotten hidden.
okay, so do I click on that and then hit unhide this whole
Yeah,
section?
so go back to desktop view. Right. So click on the image. That image, I don't know what the heck it is, but there's the image on the left. The
Oh,
image. That image, yes.
okay.
All right, click advanced. Scroll down, way down. We got to get to responsive. Open the responsive, scroll down.
I don't care about the image being on there.
Yeah, so remove the hide for it's going to be helpful if you just remove a lot of the hides, and that will, I think, start helping you.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
basically you have a ton of things that are all set to hide for different views. So you're going to be basically over in that left panel on a ton of different elements, most likely.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Our next person is PJ. How do you stop the ampersand hash 039 semicolon showing up as the apostrophe in the title of the blog and elsewhere? Normally what happened is you copy and pasted from another tool, and that tool decided to import it as that symbol. So typically what you have to do is a search and replace in your database to actually get rid of that symbol. Replace it with a normal apostrophe. Cannot find your name in the list. There it is. As Eagle said, don't copy and paste out of Word into WordPress. It's generally a nightmare. PG, I sent you a request if you wish to unmute.
Yes, thank you. I have taken that generous offer. And I don't know how to do what you suggested to search.
Okay, so does the apostrophe usually come when you've copied and pasted content from another source?
I just don't know that that's true. When I set up my blog, I typed everything in originally, like the title, "What's your point?" I didn't cut and paste it, so I don't know what caused that escape code or whatever it is to show up.
Yes, it's basically just the fancy version of the uh, apostrophe symbol, and that is not rendering correctly for you.
Right.
So normally what I'd recommend is that you just go ahead and do a find and replace. There is a plugin called Better Search and Replace. I'll share my screen.
Is it going to change a lot of other things that I don't want changed?
So what you'll need to do is first always back up your website and make sure that you have the ability to restore it. Then after you've done that, with this tool, what you'll do is you'll put that in that exact phrase, the what ampersand hash 039 semicolon S in as the thing you're searching for, just in the WP post table. And then you'll do a dry run and you'll have in the replace with what, single quote, S as the replace with, you'll do a dry run and it'll tell you how many it found. If it didn't find any, well, this isn't going well, but it should find several of them. And then once you've done that, then you can go ahead and remove the dry run and you can go ahead and run it on your actual database to do the replace.
So
This is a database function,
okay.
which means it could go pear-shaped, which is why you always have to have a backup of your site before you do this and the ability to restore that backup.
So I think you're explaining this very clearly. I'm not sure I really understand, but I am writing down what you said. And I've taken a screenshot of the BSR screen. So yeah, until I try to do it, I won't know if I know how to do it.
Yes, so is this currently live on your website? Because I see
It's
this.
it's annoying in that it doesn't show up every single time. But if someone does a search on my website, it can show up. It shows up in that second a chat post that I made. This is what it looks like at 11:41. This is what it looks like when I'm preparing a new post, and in the box near the bottom where it says SEO title preview, it shows up with the name of the podcast with the escape code in it. I don't know where that's
Oh, okay. If
coming
it's
from.
just in, that's just in the post metadata, which you can manually clean up.
Post metadata. Okay.
Yes, so for the, if you're talking about in the SEO block,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be in the post metadata for the description.
Okay. And where do I find that?
That would be in the post, the WP post meta table.
WP post meta table. And
It'll
that,
be just after the WP post table in the list of things in the search in the tables here. It'll be the one just after the WP post table.
oh, still inside this
Mhm.
better search place. Okay. 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 I still am not sure, but I think you've got me started. So there's no way to fix this without getting that better search and replace. Is that correct?
It might be possible, but I'd have to dig into the problem a bit more.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Uh, are you using an SEO plugin on your site?
I I don't know. I'm using Yoast. Is that a SEO?
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
that's
So,
the only one. Yeah.
so on the page that this shows up on, if you edit the page and then go down to the bottom of that page, Yoast will show you what the SEO metadata is, and you could correct it there, or you
Oh,
could, or you could, or if you it doesn't let you correct it, you could actually change the SEO metadata there so that it says what you want it to say.
oh, okay. I haven't had that experience, but that sounds very helpful. So go down to, when I'm making a post, go down to the bottom of the page there and see if I
Not
can get
right,
inside.
yeah. Right now, you're looking at code for the page. What I'm talking about is when you log into WordPress and then um, edit the page itself
Yes,
in WordPress,
yes.
then Yoast will be generally it's at the bottom of the page.
Ah, okay,
It adds it's called metadata. It adds metadata to the bottom of the page so that it'll show you what the SEO search engine is picking up, or you can also modify that to say what you want it to say.
okay. So I'm just looking at it now and I don't see how I can do that, but
Are you sharing your screen?
I can't.
No, I'm sharing right
Oh,
now.
oh, okay. Sorry.
So I'm sorry that I seem to be a bit of a brickhead about this, but I don't see what you're suggesting I should see. At the SE, at the Yoast part at the end here. Nope, I don't see anything that's going to, the meta description.
Yes, the meta description and the title.
Okay, and I see those, and I can't, the problem is outside, it's before the SEO title. In that little box that's just under the preview, where it says the name of the blog, and then under it it's got my URL. The title itself doesn't seem to be affected. So yeah.
Almost wonder if it's a server.
So anyway, I don't want to hold up your session. Maybe if I Google a bit, I can find out how to get into the Yoast metadata. But now I know at least what to look for.
I'm almost wondering if it might be related to your hosting environment as well, if your database isn't supporting full Unicode.
So yeah, I don't see any way to generate the code.
All
Okay.
right, we are going to hop on to the next person
Yeah,
just because
I thank you for your efforts.
Yes, you're welcome. The next person, Danielle had put in, it looks like Danielle has left. There will be links for everything that was shared in the YouTube video that gets posted after this. Were there any other questions? Otherwise, I will get to some of the ending slides for the meetup. If you are looking for help outside of meetup times, here are a couple of resources for you. The WordPress Baltimore meetup has a webpage, and there's also the WP helpdesk.support. Those are both places where you can find additional support. Keith says, can't read maybe. I really wish there was a way in Zoom to make this alphabetical. Oh, there's a search. I literally just saw that. Hi, Dan.
Hi, thanks for this.
Yes.
Here comes the drop.
So what can we help you with?
Oh, well, I sent you a text, a message in the messages explaining my situation rather than to repeat it to you. Do you see it? Daniel
Yes.
Steele.
Website about, do you have a website about your services? Yes, I am at both anfira.com and easyalleyguide.com, and I will drop those two links into the chat.
Thank you.
And then you've created a website but don't know how to load on WordPress new documents.
Right. It's been created, but I don't know how to use it to add information materials.
Okay, so you want to create pages on your WordPress site.
Yes, pay YouTube's and I learned don't use Word pages, so it would be a PDF pages.
Well, you want to just put the content into your website.
True.
If at all possible, you want to just have the text right there on your site.
Yeah, documents pretty much. Papers.
Generally speaking, we try and actually put the content on the pages rather than uploading documents, unless you're intending for people to download the documents for saving later.
Yeah, my documents kind of are discrete and they sit by themselves in the website.
Okay. Then you can upload documents into your media library, and then from there you can link them from various pages. Regarding YouTube, you can go ahead and put YouTube directly onto various pages just by inserting a YouTube video. There's literally a block for inserting YouTube videos.
Okay. Well, I'll try it.
It's pretty easy to use.
If you know where I was coming from.
Quick, okay, I've got a page here. So this is the back end of a recent blog post. So here you can see that we have a YouTube video. And so this YouTube video is just a block. If I pull up the YouTube embed, then you can see that it's just, it's literally just called a YouTube embed, and I just add that into the editor, and then I can edit the URL of the specific video and just pop the URL in and embed it. And then if I had a link to something in my media library, I could, for example, just put some, this is my document, and click the link, and then just paste the link to whatever document in the media library it was.
I see. Okay. I'll try it.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Our next meetup is going to be in the fall. We take the summer off. So our next meetup will be September 16th at 11 a.m. Eastern US time. And it's going to be an Ask Me Anything, and of course, RSVP at the meetup group. And I hope everyone has a lovely summer.